When you have a spiritual awakening, your life changes in profound ways. In many cases, your old life turns upside down in order to make room for a life more aligned with your soul. Many people leave their old jobs, move to a different location, experience changes in their bodies and minds, and heal the trauma that was limiting their lives. Although these changes are all necessary, they can also be very challenging to live through, especially this one particular thing that happens with every spiritual awakening: losing people in your life. When I recently asked my audience on social media if they were experiencing the loss of relationships in their lives since their awakening started, I was bombarded with hundreds of stories. Just about every friend and family member is no longer part of my life. I've had so many people drop out of sight. I have lost friends, family members, and even my marriage little by little. I've lost contact and a closeness with family and friends. My best friend of 30 years, the disconnect is real and I mourn it. Dropping like flies because I'm putting up boundaries and showing up as my authentic self for the first time in my life. More and more vulnerable comments poured in talking about losing people and the pain it caused. For some, the loss of connection was initiated by the other person, but for many, they chose to walk away themselves. I chose to let go of some people after realizing that they weren't suitable for my own well-being. Losing people in your life during a spiritual awakening can be very painful, even if you're the one walking away. So this video will help you make sense of what's going on and what to do if you find yourself feeling isolated and alone from the loss of connections. You'll learn the spiritual reason why people drop out of your life during an awakening, what to do when they leave so you don't feel alone or isolated, and what not to do when the connections fall apart. Everything that happens in the 3D reality of matter has an energetic underpinning. When you have a relationship or a connection with someone, you're plugged into each other's energy grid. That's the unseen spiritual parts of them, like their aura or their energy field. When people come into your life, you establish strong energy bonds between you, and there could be many people connected to your energy grid at once. This is called an energetic network. But here's the key about energetic networks. They are always in alignment. In order for someone or something to be in your reality, to be in your life, there must be energetic alignment with that person or thing. If there isn't, that person or thing will drop out of your reality. Energy is really that simple. So while that person is in your life, you're in energy resonance with each other. Think of energy resonance like a puzzle. You have a specific puzzle piece configuration, and the other person has a specific puzzle piece configuration that fits perfectly with yours. When a spiritual awakening is initiated, it triggers and accelerates your energy shifts. That's a rebirth in you, and your entire energy system changes. It starts to vibrate faster and higher. This means your puzzle piece configuration changes, and now guess what? You no longer fit together perfectly. And this lack of energy resonance is what leads to the person disappearing from your life. You can't remain connected with different puzzle piece configurations. Suddenly, you may start to argue a lot or not see the world the same way anymore, or maybe you just stop talking to each other out of the blue. Regardless of how the disconnection happens in the physical world, it's coming because this change in your energy grid is happening. Sometimes this happens quickly, or it can drag out for years, but the end result is the same. You can't remain in each other's life if you have unaligned energy puzzle pieces. In my life, this has happened over the years in very quick moments. In early 2013, my marriage imploded suddenly, and that triggered a rapid spiritual awakening. My puzzle piece configuration changed, and I left my home and moved countries with my Great Dane Xena. Then, as my energy changed over the years, I lost many people in my life. Some of them I had conversations with, and I explained what was happening to me, and others just dropped out naturally. If you're watching this video, you're probably experiencing a spiritual awakening right now, and I know how challenging it can sometimes be. My main awakening lasted 6 years, and that included a spontaneous Kundalini awakening, years of solitude, and many dark nights of the soul. But your spiritual awakening doesn't have to be as challenging or drawn out as mine. To help you get through yours more easily, I created a special online course called AWAKEN. I designed this 6-week course as a step-by-step roadmap to help you find meaning in what's happening to you, stabilize your energy, and gain clarity on what steps to take next toward your soul purpose. In this online course, you'll learn the 6 stages of spiritual awakening so you have a better understanding of what an awakening looks like across time. We'll pinpoint which stage you're at right now and how to better work through that specific stage, the 4 practice pillars that are crucial to help stabilize your energy during an awakening, and then you'll be guided through 15 different daily practices that you can incorporate in your everyday life to help you get grounded and flow more easily. To learn more about Awaken and join us in this online course, click on the link below for a special discount. Regardless of whether it's you or the other person who disconnects, here's what to do when people drop out of your life. First, keep going. I've had so many people say to me over the years that they feel a sort of nostalgia to the times before their awakening where they had more people and relationships in their lives. But what many people forget to mention is that maybe those connections weren't the most healthy or wholesome, because if they were, they would have stayed in your life. But most importantly, if they matched your new energy, they would stay too. People don't fall out of your life when they are energetically matching. They leave when they are no longer a match. And this is because your spiritual awakening causes major changes in you, changes that are necessary and elevated. So your main goal is to just keep going. Keep healing your old wounds, releasing heavy energy baggage that no longer resonates, shifting your energy upward, connecting to your soul and purpose. Just keep going on your spiritual path, and eventually new connections will come in, and those will be an energy match to your new puzzle piece configuration. It may temporarily feel a bit lonely before your new soul connections, but always remember that your spiritual awakening will always lead you to more wholesome and authentic connections. Next, tip number 2 is to stand in your power. No matter how many people leave your life, always stand in your power and remember that you are so loved by the universe. Don't be afraid to stand up for yourself, even if you stand alone. This can be a hard one for people because we're so conditioned to want to belong that many times we forsake ourselves in order to stay in connections that are not good for us. We're programmed to believe that bad company is better than no company. But this is false. Learning to love yourself enough to stand alone if you have to is a valuable skill to have in your life. Standing in your power also means speaking your truth and being authentic. Don't be afraid to share how you're changing and what you're discovering during your spiritual awakening. Be open about sharing who the new you is, what your dreams are, and how you now want to live your life. This is so incredibly powerful because it allows you to show others what a spiritual awakening looks like, so you serve as a living example for what's possible. But it also helps you come out of the spiritual closet, not being afraid of showing your authentic and true self, whether people like it or not. And last, tip number 3 is to set new boundaries. I prefer to call boundaries rules of engagement because it feels more empowering and it's a better description of what is actually happening. As you're changing, you'll need to set new rules of how you want others to interact with you and what you will and will not accept any longer. This is crucial because other people in your life will want to continue relating to you in the same way they used to before your awakening. But now you're a different person. You're healed, you're empowered. So now you want people to treat you with more respect, honoring what you feel and what your boundaries are. And if people in your life do not respect your new boundaries or rules of engagement, then you'll need to make tough decisions on whether you want to keep them in your life or not. Now that you're clear on what to do, there are also some important things not to do. The first one is big, and it's one that many of my clients get stuck in. Don't try to force a reconnection. This is so painful, and so many people try to do it, mostly because they are grieving the loss of the connection and want to get it back. So they try desperately to talk to the person, or they try to reconnect on some level. But always remember the energy aspect to this disconnection. No matter how hard you try, the people that are meant to leave your life, they will leave because your energy is no longer matching. Your puzzle pieces don't fit each other anymore. Now, you may want a parting talk or to clear things up before you exit each other's lives, and that's okay, but don't try to maintain the connection when your soul and energy systems are saying that the time is up for the relationship. The second don't is don't get into the loneliness trap. There's a difference between solitude and loneliness, and it's so important for spiritual people to realize that during their awakening, they may be alone at times, but they never have to feel loneliness. Loneliness is a feeling of unwanted isolation. But now that you understand the underlying energy aspects, you realize that all the people leaving your life were meant to leave. And then when people drop out of your life, it means energetically that you're making room for new connections that are in alignment with your current energy. If you trust life and your soul, then there's no attachment to people or things. So when someone leaves, you may still feel grief or sadness, but you don't feel loneliness because you realize that life is preparing you and making room for wholesome connections to enter. So you can relax and surrender and enjoy your life even if you're temporarily alone. If your ego starts to fall into the trap of loneliness, use this simple exercise. Look at yourself in the mirror and repeat this mantra: the universe is making room for wholesome connections to enter my life. This affirmation helps keep your vibration high and in a state of joyful expectation, where you live your life joyfully and know that elevated soul connections will come at the right time and in the right manner. The third don't is don't take it personally. When people leave your life, it's never because of your worth. It's not because there's something wrong with you or the universe is punishing you. Disconnecting from people is not personal. This is so important in keeping your vibration high and light. If you let your ego start to dip into self-criticism, then you start going down a negative spiral that will lower your vibration and make you feel sad and unworthy. Remember that when people leave your life, energetically it's not personal, and it really is simple. It's just a question of your energy grid not resonating with theirs anymore. The universe doesn't judge or punish, and the more you learn to see life from this non-judgmental, neutral place, you feel so much better, and you realize that life is always working on your behalf. Using one of my favorite affirmations from the spiritual teachers Abraham Hicks,
things are always working out for you, no matter how it looks at any point in time. Things are always working out for you.
So when people leave your life, it's okay to mourn or feel sad, but remember that everything is always working out for you, and that just down the road, new soul connections will come in to replace all the connections you've lost. People leaving your life is one of many things that can happen during a spiritual awakening, but there are more. Watch this video here to discover the most unbelievable things that can happen during a spiritual awakening and what to do if you experience them.